Do you have a hard time losing weight? It might be that your body is a better sugar burner than fat burner. In this video, we'll show you how we tweaked Keith's diet to train his body to prefer burning fat for energy, and how those tweaks resulted in the loss of more than 26 pounds in the past 9 weeks. Hi, I'm Dr. Becky. I'm a college instructor of the Science of Nutrition.
And I'm Dr. Keith. I'm a chiropractor in private practice for the past 26 years. And you're watching Two Fit Docs, where I'm getting fit live in front of the camera so we can show you how we approach weight loss in a scientifically sound way.
So you had a good week last week, not only weight-wise, but also how you felt.
Yeah, I felt like there was a change in my body this past week. Like my body just became more efficient at burning fat. And my weight is down 2 pounds from last week.
Yeah, so if we had to sum up what you've been doing, we could say that your diet is high in fiber, high in fat, moderate in protein, and low in carbs. And we're doing that because we want to keep your blood sugar and your insulin level in check.
Yeah, insulin is a fat-storing hormone. It's the hormone that clears sugar out of the blood. So if there's too much sugar, insulin stores it in our fat cells as fat. My blood sugar and insulin levels were too high because my body was insulin resistant.
Right, so your body always had this blood sugar supply available, and therefore it was always insulin. So your body was very good at storing fat but had no time to burn fat. So this is what happens in a lot of people who have trouble losing weight. They keep eating carbs, which, even if they're whole carbs, turn into sugar inside the body. So they have a constant supply of sugar to burn, which is easy energy for the body. But because that energy source is there, there's no need for the body to go through the trouble of taking fat out of storage and converting it into energy. So explain how we kind of figured this all out for you.
Well, I started with the 0-1-2-3 strategy, which increased my fiber intake, and that worked well for me, albeit a little slower than I would have liked. After digging into my own health status, I found that I was solidly in the classification of metabolic syndrome. I had rising blood pressure, a large waist measurement, high triglyceride, and it's a fair bet that I was at least pre-diabetic, if not already a type 2 diabetic.
Right. So those are the things that made it very hard for your body to release fat.
So I did some research and showed great promise in reversing the components of metabolic syndrome. And I found that I could keep following the 0-1-2-3 strategy and then make a few additions and subtractions here and there to give my weight loss a boost.
Yeah, so what exactly did you do?
Well, I added a large amount of fat, sometimes up to 80% of my daily caloric intake. And I cut my intake of carbohydrates drastically.
Right, so explain some of the research that's available when we look at this type of eating pattern.
Okay, so studies have shown that although weight loss is achievable on both a lower fat diet and a lower carbohydrate diet, the amount of weight loss is typically much greater on a low carb diet. One of the main factors when predicting weight loss success is the degree of insulin sensitivity in the subjects of these studies. It's estimated that 60 to 75% of the population may be insulin resistant, which means that they're not sensitive to the effects of insulin to any real degree. And these people are diabetic or on their way to diabetes.
Right. So since these people don't respond to insulin in a normal manner, handling carbohydrates puts a lot of stress on their bodies.
Yeah, so restricting carbohydrates allows their bodies to function more efficiently. And without getting too deep into the science, I think one of my light bulb moments was when I read that the human body has no essential need for carbohydrate.
Okay.
In fact, carbohydrates are the only macronutrient that is not essential to human life.
Okay, so explain what you mean by essential.
Okay, so I mean we don't need to eat carbohydrates to survive, which I know sounds bizarre because we all think of athletes who carbo load for energy. And carbs do provide a quick energy source. But if there are no carbs available, then the body will turn to fat for energy. And there's a lot more fat available than sugar.
Right. So I remember you mentioning to me that there was something like 2,000 calories of sugar or glycogen, stored in our body, but there was 100,000 calories stored in fat.
Right. There's a lot of energy stored in fat, and that 100,000 calories is fat calories in a lean person.
Okay, so your average person has a lot more energy stored on their body than the lean person.
Right. So if we can convert our bodies from a sugar-burning metabolism to a fat-burning metabolism, then we will burn fat quickly and overcome weight loss resistance. And you make that switch by eating more fat and fiber and fewer carbs.
Okay. So that doesn't mean that you only eat meat and you don't eat any vegetables or plant foods?
Right, not at all.
Okay.
Non-starchy vegetables, nuts, and seeds are all vital parts to my dietary plan. In fact, the 1 and 2 in the 0, 1, 2, 3 strategy stands for 1 large salad and 2 cups cooked vegetables every day. I think it's important to note that not everyone needs to follow a diet like mine. If you're insulin sensitive, you may fare better with a more low to moderate fat diet.
Right, and I think that's a really good point. To overcome your weight loss resistance, we had to kind of refigure things and come at it from an approach that was right for you. So we've talked a lot about the 0, 1, 2, 3 strategy and diet tweaks in this video. And if you want to learn the 0, 1, 2, 3 strategy and see the foods that we added and subtracted from Keith's diet to accelerate his weight loss, we put together a starter kit, which you can download from this video or from the description below.
And if you want to keep following my progress, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. And we'll see you next week.
Okay, thanks for watching.
And here we go, take 6.
Okay, all right. Do you have a... I was going to make a joke. Okay, this is it, because I don't want to be here. It'll soon turn into unfun.